Buenos dias. Good morning, everyone. You hear the excitement behind me. This is, if for those of you who have been here before, maybe feeling a little deja vu, standing in this very same space, you should know that this is now the fifth time that our governor, Governor Andrew Cuomo, who has since day one been a champion for the people of Puerto Rico, for the people in the Virgin Islands affected by Hurricane Maria. I, as a Puerto Rican-born elected official here in the Bronx, was proud to join the governor in that very first flight. We left from this very terminal to Puerto Rico to make sure that we followed through on that commitment, where New York said we would stand shoulder to shoulder with the people of Puerto Rico through this process. And here we are, once again, continuing in that path. And I gotta give it up to Governor Andrew Cuomo. It takes a special kind of leadership to not only talk the talk, but walk the walk and be consistent about it. And Governor, you've done that every step of the way. So thank you on behalf of my family, who's in Puerto Rico today and who's going to benefit from this trip as well. So to everyone, good morning again. We have an outstanding delegation. I'm Assemblymember Marcos Crespo, representing many of my colleagues in the New York State Legislature as the chair of the Puerto Rican and Hispanic Task Force of the New York State Assembly, and we are joined by some incredible leaders. You will hear from both the governor and our amazing public advocate, who has also, from day one, been speaking out and speaking truth to power on the issues affecting the people of Puerto Rico and the Caribbean. Our public advocate, Tish James, is with us. Let's give it up to Tish. And we have a great delegation. Let me first acknowledge some of the most important folks joining us, and that is our students from CUNY and SUNY who are out in force. I'm a CUNY grad, so I'm glad you're with us. We also have the Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr., State Senator Gustavo Rivera, Assemblywoman Carmen de la Rosa. We have Melissa DeRosa, Secretary to the Governor, Robert Mojica, the New York State Budget Director, Monica Tavares, Vice President of External Affairs for the Hispanic Federation, a ever-present leader with labor with us as well, Santos Rodriguez, a Director of Community Affairs for the Building and Construction Trades Council. And we have a number of presidents that are with us as well, Dr. Felix Matos Rodriguez, President of Queens College, El Dr. Javidan Rodriguez, President of University at Albany, President David Gomez of Ostos Community College, another great president from 1199 SEIU, George Gresham, is with us, and from the Bronx as well, and Ken Rasky, the president of the Greater New York Hospital Association. Look, from the first flight till this one, again, we have had no stronger voice and no one bringing more attention and resources to help the people of Puerto Rico than our governor, who has been consistent, who's been strong, who's demonstrated what leadership is all about. And that's bringing resources together to bear and to help those in need. And so many people in Puerto Rico, so many lives have been saved because of the effort of our governor, bringing resources, bringing personnel, bringing supplies, and more importantly, making sure that if Washington forgets, we don't, that Puerto Rico still needs help, and that New York stands with them. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our governor, Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. I want to thank this very prestigious delegation that has come together, as Assemblyman Crespo said, for the fifth trip to Puerto Rico. We have a combination in this delegation. We have many senior leaders, and we have many budding leaders who are going to be the future of tomorrow. And they're bringing a lot of energy and a lot of strength to this effort, so I want to thank everyone. Hurricane Maria, as everybody knows, devastated the island. Assemblyman Crespo and myself and Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez went down in the first flight after the hurricane. And I want to thank the Assemblyman for his great leadership in pursuing this issue and the state initiative that you see before you today, which I'll describe in a moment. Also, Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez, who has been the same champion that Marcos Crespo has been in New York. Nydia Velasquez has been in Washington and has really been pushing the case. And I want to thank her very much. We have to remember that there have been thousands of families in Puerto Rico who were forced to leave their home, who are now in Florida, who are now in New York State, many of whom may never go back to the island. And the families that are on the island still to this day, continue to suffer, continue to endure pain, and are still in the process of rebuilding. It is not over. I can't tell you how proud I am of New Yorkers, the way they have responded. You see the representatives here, Ruben Diaz from the Bronx, Tish James, George Gresham from labor unions, we have from academia, but New Yorkers on every level responded with generosity and with love. Over 1,000 personnel went down to Puerto Rico to help out. 4,400 pallets were sent down. Ruben Diaz in the Bronx did a collection that was amazing. People bringing out 1 or 2 cans of food because that's all they could spare, but they wanted to do what they could. Tish James was very helpful in mobilizing people all across the city to do what they did. And literally 4,400 pallets of goods from all over the state. The news cycle moves on, especially today. Every new day there's a new crisis and there's a new challenge. But just because the news cycle has moved on doesn't mean the facts on the grounds in Puerto Rico have moved on. They haven't. You have families who have still been enduring the same pain they endured the day after the hurricane, are still enduring it today. We said on that first trip that New Yorkers will be there for the long term, that we will walk side by side with Puerto Rico until this nightmare is over, and that's exactly what we are doing. The nightmare is not over. Just because the cameras are no longer in Puerto Rico doesn't mean that it's over. It's not over. And the job isn't done, and we're going to be there until the job is done. We're entering a new phase now, which is not just an emergency response, but more assistance in a rebuilding effort. This is a very creative one. The state hasn't done this before, as far as I know, where we're bringing together unions, not-for-profits, and academic institutions to actually help rebuild the houses and the infrastructure of Puerto Rico. Part of that are 500 SUNY and CUNY students who are going to spend their summer vacation rebuilding homes in Puerto Rico rather than laying on the beach in Lake George and in the Hamptons. And it says something about them. I don't know that I would have been as responsible when I was a college student. I would have remembered to turn off my cell phone. I don't know if I would have been so responsible that I would give up part of my summer vacation to go down and help people rebuild homes. But that is how personal this is to New Yorkers. And these are special young people, self-selected special. Let's give them a round of applause. My last point is this. Everybody talks about this was a Mother Nature brought Hurricane Maria to the island, and Mother Nature caused the damage. That's only partially true. Yes, Mother Nature brought Hurricane Maria to the island, but it's Father Trump who aggravated the damage and continues the damage. We said on day one, when we went down, that the federal response was anemic, that they were unprepared, that they were not doing what the federal government could do. We said on day one, I had been in the federal government. I was Secretary of HUD. I had done the emergency response all over this world for 8 years during the Clinton administration. I know what the federal government can do when they want to do it. And they didn't do it in Puerto Rico. Last week, the federal government issued a report on the FEMA response. You know what the report said? Exactly what we said it would say. It said FEMA was unprepared. It said the response was anemic. They weren't ready for it. They didn't have personnel. And much of the damage is because the federal government failed in its response. So yes, Mother Nature, but then Father Trump. And it's the combination of the two. I believe it was despicable that the federal government did not do a better job in response. Despicable and insensitive. These are American citizens. And there are no second-class American citizens in the United States of America, and they deserve they deserved a first-class response because they are first-class American citizens, and they didn't get it. Remarkably, to this day, with the federal government now issuing a report saying they failed in response, you would think that now they would increase their effort, and they would double down, and they would say, I'm sorry for the initial response, but now we're really going to improve and learn and step up. Nothing, absolutely nothing from the federal government, even after the federal government admitted that they were terrible in the response and the aftermath. They should be ashamed of themselves. They should be ashamed of themselves. So why are New Yorkers still working in Puerto Rico? Because Puerto Rico needs help. And because the federal government is not doing its job. And New Yorkers, curse the darkness, light a candle. And we believe in humanity, and we believe in brotherhood, and we believe in our word. And when we say we are with you, we are with you. You can count on us. And that's what today is. From the most powerful leaders in the state of New York to our college students who are just starting and bring in energy, I hope, that some of us older types do not bring to the effort. Well, except Borough President Ruben Diaz, of course, who says he can do the work for all of us. We're going to see how good he is with a 100-pound bag of cement on his shoulder when he's not talking and he's carrying. But it's one of the days where I am truly proud to be the governor of the state of New York. Yes, we are a tough people. Everybody talks about tough New Yorkers. But in times of trouble, there are no better friends than the people in New York. And that's what we're showing to the people of Puerto Rico. These are our brothers and sisters. These are our family members. We're not going to leave you behind. And when we said we were with you, we meant we were with you. Somos uno, somos uno, somos uno. With that, let me turn it over to a great advocate for the people of Puerto Rico and the people of New York City, Tish James.
So now they're debating who's younger than who. Or who's stronger than who. Tish is stronger. Anyway. It's an honor and a privilege to be with Governor Cuomo and this outstanding delegation of elected officials as well as community leaders. And it's also an honor and a privilege to be a proud graduate of CUNY with my fellow students who are here today to respond to the needs of Puerto Rico. I remember Katrina. I remember being fixated and looking at the television. I remember crying. I remember seeing the bodies floating. I remember seeing the disaster. And I remember recalling, this is America, and this should not happen. Where is the response? And I remember speaking to a number of elected officials, and I can also recall some comments by our governor, Governor Cuomo, who indicated that this should not happen. And so here we are today on this trip. We are responding to the needs of Americans. We're responding to the needs of our fellow citizens. We're responding to our 6th borough, Puerto Rico. And New York has not forgotten about our brothers and sisters. And under the leadership of Governor Cuomo, he did not want to see another Katrina. And so because the federal government has basically turned its back on its fellow citizens, it required someone to step up and provide leadership. And that individual who stepped up and who has provided the bravest and the boldest type of response in the face of this catastrophe, and that is Governor Cuomo. And so we stand with Puerto Rico today, just as we stood with the island when Hurricane Maria first made landfall. We will continue to stand with Puerto Rico until the work is done. And while the federal government's response to this devastation left in the wake of Hurricane Maria has been and continues to be disgraceful, and again, hoping that we will never have another Katrina, it was Governor Cuomo who has led the strongest and the boldest and the most far-reaching response of any state in the nation. And while others have talked about what they are going to do, New York has taken action and supported the people of Puerto Rico in a way that no one else has. And in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria, we did not hesitate. Our fellow citizens needed our help more than ever, and New York was not going to let them down. And in reality, New York never lets down individuals in the face of disaster. Every single response, every single catastrophe in this nation, in this globe, New York continues to lead the way. Because that is what New York really is all about: helping others, helping those in need, giving a voice to the voiceless, and standing up for what's right, regardless of the circumstances. And so I'm proud to join the governor, and I'm proud to join my fellow Borinquas and New Yorkers, and I look forward to all that we can do to get the island of Puerto Rico back on its feet. I thank the governor and all of these amazing elected officials and these young leaders for their compassion, their understanding, and for taking time out of their busy schedules to give a hand and to help someone in need and to lift them up and to rebuild the island of Puerto Rico. And so I thank all of you, and I thank the governor for his leadership.
Beautifully said. Any questions for myself or any of my colleagues? Yeah, I don't know the MTA's response to the situation, but am I okay with lack of communication and lack of giving people notice and a failure to appreciate customer service? Absolutely not. Yeah, the two tunnels. Yeah, the two tunnels were damaged by Hurricane Sandy. They were paid for by federal funds, what's called FEMA funds, to rebuild after the hurricane. There was no possibility to use those federal funds for maintenance and operations or anything else, as your question implies. And there was extensive damage. All the tunnels were damaged and had to be redone. The electrical systems, the walls, the cement, everything had to be retiled, the new ceiling, new systems, so that all had to be redone. It was a $588 million project, all federal funds, done on time and on budget, and done well and done right, and New Yorkers should be proud of it. There is no update except continued sadness and pain and trauma. This was either the greatest act of governmental incompetence or one of the most manipulative, Machiavellian government moves in history. The concept of separating families from their children at the border and arresting the parents. Either it was malfeasance, where they didn't understand that once you arrested the parents, you had to separate them from the child by federal consent decree, and you had to send the children to foster care facilities all over the country. Either they failed to read the federal law, which means they're incompetent, or they knew what they were doing. And they knew when a family came across, they would separate from the children from the family. And that was some type of Machiavellian deterrent to stop families from coming. In either case, it is disgusting. It's anti-American. It's not just anti-New York. Well, those are New Yorkers. You know, New Yorkers have progressive values. It's not just anti-New York. It's anti-American. We don't take babies from their mother in this country. That's not who we are. And they should be ashamed of themselves. And that same thinking is what happened in Puerto Rico. That same thinking that said, treat people as second-class citizens. That somehow the immigrants who are coming to the border are not human. They're not like you and me. They don't deserve the same rights. The people in Puerto Rico, well, they're Puerto Ricans. They're not real Americans. That's this administration. Division and judgmentalism. That's what they've been for the past 18 months. New York and America is the exact opposite. It's about unity and what can we do together and equality. That's what America's all about. This administration doesn't understand America. Okay? Thank you.